Forgive me for having fun with that title. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Yes, I mean
that's why we created the longest title of all time.
Are you terrified?
Heck yeah.
Really?
Well, not really, but I'm excited about it.
Kimberly and I are going to do a cooking show together.
A lot of people don't know about that yet. It's kind of hush-hush.
And but it's all organic, I'll give you a hint.
This week on Headline Country, Taylor Swift talks about putting her emotions to music. All kinds of music. Rascal Flatts takes us on the road to Atlanta. Jason Aldean reveals his new tour plans. One stadium at a time. Lady Antebellum hits the red carpet for their big screen debut. Plus, Ray Cyrus talks about new music and his upcoming role on Broadway.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Aldean, and Headline Country starts right now.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Stormy Warren. Let's get right to it. Taylor Swift. She's one of the biggest stars on the planet, period. She was kind enough to sit down with us for a little chat about her new album titled Red. You may have heard about it. The past albums you've created has been a lot of introspective stuff going on. It always is, and even on this album. But this one seems like there's a lot more people, a lot more names in the liner notes on this album than we've seen in the past.
There are, and that was something I did on purpose for the sake of learning, for the sake of growing. I think that, you know, I'm 22 and I'm making my 4th album. And this is the time where you could choose to continue to do things the way that you've always done them.
Which has worked.
Which has worked, but I mean, I think sometimes people mistake success as an opportunity to coast. For this album, I just thought, I'm so curious about my heroes and what they're like in the studio and how they come up with the ideas they come up with. I wanted to push myself.
You started it with We Are Never, Ever, 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 Ever. And forgive me for having fun with that title. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Yes, I mean,
that's why we created the longest title of all time.
Why was that the perfect song to launch with?
I think for me, I wanted to prove to people that we were doing something different, even though when you hear that song, you wonder, it makes you wonder, like, what's the rest of the record sound like?
Right.
And I wanted people to wonder about that.
You're a lyric girl. You've always said you're a lyric girl. What do you hear in your head when these poems are being written, or do you leave that completely up to whoever you're working with in the studio?
Well, I actually hear it a certain way when I write it, and I just want to reflect that on the album. I want the album and each individual song to sound the way it felt to feel that emotion. You know, when you have a really chaotic, out of control emotion you're dealing with, I want that to sound out of control. As far as I'm concerned, you're just another picture to burn.
With all of the adoration and all of the success, there has been criticism. How much does that affect you, what you do creatively?
Creatively, it sometimes fuels it. There was a song called Mean that I wrote about criticism, and you know, there's no greater feeling than the feeling I felt standing on stage winning 2 Grammys for that song. And all you're ever gonna be is mean. Why you gotta be so mean? I'm not the kind of person who can't take criticism.
So much of your life has been played out in the songs since you're a teenager, now 22 years old. We've followed the entire growth of Taylor Swift emotionally, the emotional growth of Taylor Swift. That's interesting in a piece of art form, but you mentioned the gossip side too. Other stuff gets out in other ways. Would you rather people just listen to the songs? So if you want to find out what's going on in your life, just turn on the record.
Of course, and my fans know that. You know, I think we've developed such a trust over the years that they know I'm going to tell them the truth about everything I've been feeling. And so I just feel like letting them in from that perspective and having that we share together, it's like I kind of trust that they have my back on that stuff. Take my hand and drag me head first, fearless.
The American spirit is to take an entertainer, whether it's an athlete or whatever, root them all the way up to the top, and then suddenly paint a bullseye on them.
That's a good observation.
And what is that like to see that flip of a switch? It's got to be weird to be on that side of it.
Well, I mean, I think that in every story you've got, like, your things that scare you, your kind of storybook villain type things, and for me, it's like, you know, the people that are waiting for me to trip up.
Right.
That's the storybook villain for me.
Don't be afraid, we'll make it out of this mess. It's a love story, baby, just say yes.
You want to have someone, whether it's a fan or a critic, say, I get Taylor Swift.
I get it. I get what she was trying to do. Is that the goal?
Yeah, I mean, I want these songs to fit into people's lives. Because I write music
They fit into yours.
Yeah, I write music for those moments where people are so either devastated by the loss of a relationship or excited about the start of a new one or reflecting back on what they've learned. And maybe they'll turn my song on at that point. That's the hope.
Taylor Swift is nominated for 3 trophies at next week's CMA Awards, airing live on ABC November 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you're wondering who's going to pull in the big awards, we have a little puppet prognostication on our website at headlinecountry.net. Comedian Jeff Dunham's pal Walter made his predictions. And believe it or not, the grumpy old man has actually done his research. While you're there, you can also vote for who you think will take home this year's Entertainer of the Year award. Coming up, despite their tour's name, Rascal Flatts proved that some things don't change while they're on the road. We'll take you backstage in Atlanta, Georgia. Our goal this year was to hit as many of the big headliner tours as possible. And as the year winds down, we still have a couple left. Next week, we're going to head to Oklahoma City for Carrie Underwood and Hunter Hayes' Blown Away show in Carrie's home state. And just a few days ago, we traveled about 4 hours southeast of Nashville for a visit to Rascal Flatts' Change Tour stop in Hotlanta, Georgia. With Little Big Town, Eli Young Band, and Eden's Edge.
Atlanta, Georgia. Here we go.
It's an amazing show, like from beginning to end, and we still can't believe that we're a part of it.
And to be out on this tour at this point in your career and to watch this wave happen right before your eyes each and every night, somebody put that into words.
Yeah.
That's a good word. That's a good word.
Hey, I'm gonna let this house spin it all around.
Is it everything you guys hoped it would be? Did the changed name, did the metaphor, everything live up to what you guys hoped you had created?
I think so. I think this summer tour, it's gone by so fast, first off. One of the most fun tours we've had, and packaged wise, 3 wonderful bands opening up for us.
This time it was really cool to just be on one tour for a long time because you could really see the little ins and outs of how everything works. So we've definitely learned a lot, and we look up to everybody on this tour so much.
We just try to encourage them to enjoy every minute, be who they are.
We got to be around some really great professionals in this business and learned a lot about how to put on a tour.
You know, once they become headliners, it's cool because then we take all the credit. Like when Taylor Swift was out with us.
That was all you guys.
Yeah, we kicked that off. Blake Shelton, we kicked that off.
I'm a huge fan personally too, and that makes it really exciting.
Well, the fans are so important that they gear the show for the fans.
They do.
How do you guys feel about Rascal Flatts?
I'm in love with them. I love them too. They're like, music's amazing, and you can always relate to them.
How many concerts have you seen of Rascal Flatts?
54.
And this is the meet and greet backstage. How many of these have you done?
14.
That's right here. 1, 2.
Man, you're a big fan.
I am a big fan. Not to mention, you know, they're buddies of mine. So when they came to Atlanta, I had to round my crew up, bring my kids down, and see the Flatts boys and just kind of come and hang out. And this is the first time I've ever, in my entire career, been in a meet and greet line.
So this is how Rascal Flatts makes so much money. They put their family to work.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So what is, I mean, this is like slave labor.
Pretty much, yes.
Hey, Brittany, let's go. Let's go. We got a line to get through here, kids.
He's a tough boss, isn't he?
Oh, yes. And he doesn't even pay me. This is like my favorite part of the whole show.
Oh, it's great.
Thing. I mean, I've seen the show so many times, it's kind of boring now, but I love this part. Daddy's gonna love that. I know.
they've so welcomed us in on this tour and been so generous and so kind, and they're good boys.
We're thrilled and fired up, and we're ready to start on the next album and the next tour, which has already got some dates out. So
Gary's baking show. That's going to be really huge.
Yeah, Kimberly and I are going to do a cooking show together.
A lot of people don't know about that yet. It's kind of hush hush.
And but it's all organic. I'll give you a hint.
Well, that's one way to cut costs. Put your kids to work on the road. We can't thank the Flatts camp enough for the hospitality in Atlanta. And speaking of big tours, wait till you hear what Jason Aldean has in store for next year. That's next on Headline Country. Still to come, you can add another stadium to Jason Aldean's growing list of tour stops next year, including one very close to his heart and home. Just when you think life for Jason Aldean couldn't get any crazier, how about a one-day trip to 3 cities? Boston, Chicago, and Athens, Georgia. The whirlwind cross-country journey is nothing compared to what's in store for his fans in 3 of the most iconic landmarks in sports.
He's from Macon, Georgia. He's a Georgia Bulldog. I want to introduce Jason Aldean.
It's been pretty crazy. I mean, we were at Fenway Park in Boston to announce that we were coming there next summer in July. Went to Wrigley to announce we were going to do a show there. Got on a plane, flew here to Athens, Georgia to announce that we're going to be playing Sanford Stadium, which is the University of Georgia football stadium here. So it's been a long day, but it's been a lot of fun. I think it's a big announcement for us. I mean, the fact that we are trying to make that leap and go into stadiums.
It's Georgia homeboy, Mr. Luke Bryan will be there.
Luke's from Georgia too. He's a big Georgia Bulldogs fan, and I thought it'd be really cool to have the 2 of us on a show together. Jake Owen, who is having a big year this year, is going to be on the show, and Thomas Rhett, who's a new up-and-coming singer that I like a lot, and those 2 guys are going to be on all the shows. We got Miranda Lambert's going to be on the show at Fenway, and Kelly Clarkson. We're actually going to get the first time I've ever done a show with Kelly, so she's going to come on board for the Wrigley Field show in Chicago. You know, it's one thing to go sell one out here or there, but to do it on a consistent level is something else, and that's, you know, that's kind of what we want to do. If we're going to make that leap, we want to do it in a way that we can do it consistently. You know, just trying to be careful in how we've done it and picking places that kind of are special to me. And I was definitely born into a Georgia Bulldogs family, and so, you know, I've always been a big fan, and to be able to go into that stadium and play a show where nobody else has ever played a show, I mean, to me, after playing this one, there was no reason to book another college. I mean, it isn't going to get any better.
It's amazing. I mean, we've been, you know, talking about doing a type of concert DVD, you know, for a long time now, and you know, I think finally to be in a spot where after, you know, our first kind of arena headlining tour, to be able to do that is it's a big, you know, I guess for us, feeling of, okay, maybe now we've made it. I don't know.
After collecting footage over the span of their very successful career, Lady Antebellum is ready to present a concert DVD entitled We Own the Night World Tour. While the film showcases Lady A's electrifying live performance, it also introduces fans to a look at what goes on after the curtain goes down.
We've played a lot in the U.S. and Canada and got to go to Australia as well, but there's a couple shows that really stand out to me, you know, from Norway and Switzerland and Sweden, all these countries we've never even been to.
What about our ping pong matches?
Ping pong stands out, I think, probably more than anything on the tour. This is the most important part.
And I think for us, since it's the first time, you know, our first ever headlining arena tour, we thought we can't not do this.
Grab your copy of We Own the Night World Tour December 4th.
The crickets and the critters and the squirrels singing to the bird, shake it on the girl.
You can bet there's going to be a whole lot of shaking going on for Luke Bryan next year. After spending 2012 out on the road with Jason Aldean, the singer has just announced plans for his very own and career first headlining tour. The Dirt Road Diaries tour will kick off January 17th in Evansville, Indiana, and will include special guests Thompson Square and Florida Georgia Line. Luke tells Headline Country, quote, "I have dreamed about this day for a long time. We are are having the best time putting together all the bells and whistles for the tour. I have spent a lot of time out on tours with some really great artists, and each night we have tried to learn from them. I couldn't be more excited about this. Luke's Tailgates and Tan Lines album has to date sold over 1 million copies and remains a top 5 album for all of 2012. Visit headlinecountry.net for a complete list of dates, and if you want a taste of what he'll look like as a headliner, be sure to watch our GAC concert special airing November 28th, shot on his farm tour in his old stomping grounds of Athens, Georgia.
Shake it for me.
When we come back after a few years of highs and lows, Billy Ray Cyrus shares what he's learned along the way. Finally today, Billy Ray Cyrus. After years of living in the shadows of his daughter Miley Cyrus's roller coaster life as a Disney star and teen idol, the busy dad, actor, singer, and songwriter is ready to get back to his roots. He's also getting set to plant new ones on Broadway. Not Lower Broadway here in Nashville, but the Broadway in New York. It's always fun to catch up with you because you lead such an eventful life. I can't imagine another person on the planet who has been through more. Is that accurate?
It's pretty accurate, to be honest, yeah.
Lately I've been thinking, and I think about changing my mind.
This is me being a singer, songwriter, musician. I love this album, changed my mind.
From the title track, the video, everything, there's an edge to this album that hasn't been on a Billy Ray Cyrus album in a while.
Going back to my roots, everything that musically that is part of me now is part of this record. I've loved the creative process of making Change My Mind.
Change my mind.
The words come from the heart, and you know, my songs usually come at a moment of inspiration colliding with desperation.
A lot of introspection going on in your life right now.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
What are you seeing? What are you discovering?
Well, I'm seeing that I'm a very busy man right now. On some levels, I kind of wish I was just singer, songwriter, entertainer right now, and just enjoying this moment of this album coming out. But again, you know, I've got myself in a couple other endeavors, none more terrifying than the fact that I open on Broadway on November the 5th. That's right. I've got the book that I've been writing. That in itself, I mean, it's just emotional. The music somehow always pulls me through if I just lean into the music. That's kind of my mantra these days, is lean into the music and everything else will work out.
To find my way back to Tennessee.
Like you said, it all does come out in the music. I mean, one of the songs that comes to mind, you talk about your childhood, and it's what daddies do.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, there's some references to your dad in that. There's references to being a dad. That's about as personal of a song as you could get out there.
I wrote the song, you know, based on not only me being a dad, but thinking about my dad and just reflecting on my life as, you know, both sides of a dad, and that song just kind of came.
That's what daddies do, to shield you from the rain, shelter in the storm, there to ease your pain.
It's hard being a dad anytime. I'm a dad, and it's hard to be a dad. You've had to be a dad in the white-hot spotlight of everything.
Yeah.
How has that, I mean, that's had to have taken a toll, especially with the challenges you've had to deal with.
If my book wasn't a biography, I wish that I could have had the sense to write a book about how to be a dad, though I might be the last person you would want to ask that question to, because I'm hungry for that knowledge too. I wish there would have been a book called How to Be a Great Dad, and I wish I would have read it. But obviously there isn't, and I didn't.
'Cause that's what daddies do.
20 years you blasted onto the scene. How fast have those 20 years gone?
It's gone by really fast. You know, the one thing that has stayed constant, well, two things. One is I still love making music. And number two, I still believe in God greatly.
Somebody said a prayer, somebody had some faith.
The plans for 2013 is to do a complete world tour, starting in Australia, and just go around one time just, you know, have some fun, sing songs, enjoy being a singer, songwriter from Flatwoods, Kentucky.
Again.
Again.
As for Billy Ray's other project as an author, he promises his upcoming autobiography will be nothing short of eye-opening. Well, thanks for watching. Until next week, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and of course on our website at headlinecountry.net. Take care, everybody.
Say